way he was playing. And I've seen some of Toxic too. I've watched some of his FFAs and watching him prep in different ways and SAC and some duels. And again, I agree with what everybody's been saying with Toxic. It's very much hit or miss. It's sometimes he's just on fire and it's like, wow, like how can he lose to anybody? And then other times it's like, as I said, the railgun's kind of like the three-point shot, you know, in basketball, where when it's with you, it's great, but if you lose it, you know, you got to find some other ways to win the game.
Now, I feel like on Blood Run, we're likely to see that put into practice quite often. And I actually want to mention their favorite weapons, Toxic's favorite weapon, Pummel, and Cooler's favorite weapon, Gauntlet. It's a pretty nice little turn of events right there. Whether we're going to see the Gauntlet used on Blood Run is remains to be seen, but I feel like this is going to be a really nice map for displaying, I think, just the general Quake ability of both of these players, because it does have a lot of just fundamental tools to it. And with both these players being, you know, almost like as old school as it gets, this is a map that's great for both these guys. And I think it's going to be a really good, almost like foreshadowing for what we can expect for the rest of the series, with Blood Run being the first map we see.
Yeah, they're both very experienced on this map, so it's always good to get off to a good start, right? You want that first round, that first map. But we'll see. I mean, they're very experienced. I'm very, I got to go with the panel here. I think Cooler might pull this out, but that's why they play the games. As we've seen with Razy too, you know, it's interesting because he didn't play very well today. So as I mentioned earlier, it's all about who plays well tournament time.
And that's really going to be the all-important matter, but two gods collide, Cooler versus Toxic. DreamHack Winter, I mean, what a tournament for these guys to go head-to-head. But to remember, folks, this is just group stages. You know, they have to go through other people as well. But this very well could be a match down the line. And these guys, above everything else, Quake is their passion. You know, Quake is who they are.
You don't get to this level without being passionate about playing. And nice little read there. He picked up on that the small armor pickup in the back, and he's, again, you can see the tactical play from both guys. Just trying to pick up on sound cues, get a little prediction there.
Now, Toxic, you know, he's pretty much given us a little bit of a message as to how he's probably going to try and tackle this map. He's got Sorlag as part of his lineup, but also Sorlag first. We've seen full well what Sorlag can do on this map, you know, especially if she gets that first frag on board. Toxic's have to do a little bit of dodging, actually try and deny that entire area. Doesn't want to take another rail, forced to sort of get a little bit of distance, but look, Sorlag on Blood Run is, you get one frag, you play defensive, because she has the tools to do it.
You see the respect both players had for each other there in that encounter too, where Tox maybe with, you know, somebody else maybe decides to push and try to keep them trapped in that area, but instead both kind of respected each other and went their separate ways.
I went in for the Berserk mode, but I think it's actually a good call to immediately get out of there. But he has taken a chunk of damage and temporarily stuck on the door for his double jump. So if Toxic was there, may have caught him off guard, but round the corner. That was a chunky rocket.
Yeah, I had a nice read on him. Coming down those stairs, you're going to hear somebody coming down the stairs. There's no way to be quiet coming down the stairs, so because you're going to drop down.
And he's caught Cooler in a really bad spot. Could have probably got a little bit of extra damage on his rocket round the corner, but I guess you win some, lose some. He's going to be happy with the champion advantage at the very least, but I actually quite like that answer to Cooler, right? And oh my days. Oh my days.
Just, again, a great rocket. Caught Cooler in the same spot, but again, yeah, I love how he placed the rocket, you know, towards the jump pad. There was no escape, knowing that, you know, he's going to want to get out of there. So he's either engaged to avoid the rocket, and unfortunately he tried to get out of there and ran right into it.
I mean, sometimes when you get fragged, you really have to look at your champion and go, right, what matchup do I think is going to be more favorable here? Forced to go in for the acid spit, but Cooler having a hard time. Actually waits until the Ghost Walk is used, which I think was a really good call, and the prediction rocket, even though actually the read on where he was going to reappear was on point, it was just a bit too early.
Yeah, he read him perfectly, you're right. He just maybe a half second too early on that shot. Really playing great right now, Toxic. Starting off really good.
It's a fantastic situation for Toxic as well, how he's got such an advantage, and again, it just goes back to this hyper-defensive champion in Sorlag, how Toxic has a ridiculous stack. He's got a good mobility. The damage output, area denial to, you know, if you're going to play this hyper-defensive game, keeping them at bay. If there's acid all over the floor, you don't really want to step on it, because on top of the damage, it's also the damage numbers, giving him that knowledge. And just look at how many rockets Toxic has taken, but he's still alive. I wonder how long with Cooler on the chase, and wow, Toxic almost catching Cooler off guard. I think he was going to try and chase that one down, but didn't expect him to actually double back at that moment.
Wow, yeah, a little unfortunate for Cooler. He had him, but yeah, you're right. Toxic came back in his face and just went right through the Ghost Wall. Nix. He really needed that frag too. Would have helped him out, especially with the clock over 3 minutes now.
I mean, with that 3 health, he didn't even need the rail, but I would be, yeah, I think he's going to chase this one down. He's going to know what the difference is.
I'm sure Cooler's thinking, you know, he's going to have to push, unfortunately, just to try to get a frag and give himself a chance. It'll probably end up in in Toxic winning the round, but there's not much he can do at this point. Toxic's in a good position right now, totally in command.
The one thing, I guess, is that he hasn't got a lot of ammo for his main weapons, but that will swiftly be undone with the rocket. I think that's why Cooler was trying to head him off, but unfortunately, they trade these rails back and forth, which means Cooler really can't get a bearing in. Toxic, he's going to do the math,
beautiful.
And he's going to know just how weak Cooler is in that encounter, and that's going to be a really dominant round one, I have to say.
Yep, that's what again, we were talking about Toxic. When he's on fire and he's on top of his game, he's a tough man to beat. So he's off to a great start right now against a top caliber opponent. I mean, I thought Cooler, in my mind, was one of the kind of the favorites coming in. So this is looking really well for Toxic.
I mean, favorites, they've been made to sweat earlier today. We've seen that with Kilson. We saw that with Cypher. Anything is possible on a LAN, of course. Not to discredit Tox in any way. He's by no means an underdog, but this really is a Clash of the Titans scenario. So results being unpredictable is bit weird in some cases because two players going at it, you always expect it to be close. But of course, it's just round one.
Yeah, it's just so hard to pick winners when at this level, they're just so evenly matched. It's going to, like I always mention, it's just who's playing better today. It really is going to come down to that, or even just this game.
Well, we saw that with Razy.
Yeah, Razy.
Case in point.
Yeah, I thought Razy was going to do much better than starting off 0-2 is very surprising.
Now, I do like Cooler's answer for Doomslayer first. I know that's not like a direct answer to Sorlag in particular, but if you're going to be able to go toe-to-toe, Doomslayer with a very similar stack, it's one way to sort of deal with the fact that Toxic is just very hard to kill in these 1v1 fights. So Toxic is managing his stack intelligently, so when the fight happens, he's super, super healthy. Can take a couple of directs, and he's still good to fight. We saw it in the previous round.
And we also saw in the previous round when Cooler was on his last champion, he was using Nyx against that Sorlag. Here he hit those two great rockets, big damage, and Sorlag still got away. You think, you know, the Nyx can't take much damage, so getting in those engagements, those long engagements especially, it doesn't benefit her.
But we can see the speed is somewhat, it's been changed here. You know, Cooler doesn't really want to fall prey to what Toxic is trying to lay for him. And it actually looks like Cooler was the one lying in wait, and he gets a lot of damage as a reward, but Toxic, unbelievably weak.
Yeah.
Cooler wasn't really able to follow through, though. A bit too much distance between them.
Nice. It was a nice mid-air rocket, though, by Toxic. Bounced it up and hit him. He's going to be, by Cooler, excuse me. Toxic's in a little bit of trouble right now. He's going to have to salvage that small armor, but Cooler's in great shape.
It's more data than anything else. That rocket's not going to do huge damage, and right here, he's going to give Toxic a bit of knowledge, but of course, he's nowhere near weak enough for the damage over time to be prominent. But when you're trying to sort of command that Mega, it is going to give him the knowledge of Cooler is in fact down there fighting for the Mega instead. That's why Toxic gave it up, I think. Probably prioritizes Heavy a little bit more.
One of these things, that's actually a good example of what I was about to mention. These players are so great at just delaying movement for a split second or so, because these pros, they're so excellent at timing. So if you go a straight route, they will know, oh, it's going to take you 2.5 seconds. They'll have a rocket waiting for you. So sometimes it's great just to delay that little bit, and then you'll see that rocket right in front of you. And both of them have done it several times.
It's when you see the delay and then the well-placed rocket, it's like this was just some next-level stuff. But I mean, we can see that you mentioned respect in the first round, and I think we're seeing a lot more of that play right now. Cooler with the Heavy, looking to actually take a lot of control over the middle of the map, keeping Toxic on the back foot. I mean, if you're gonna handle a Sorlag on this map, at the very least, try and keep them from just overstacking. Essentially, keep them on their defaults, and you definitely have a better chance. Yeah,
especially keeping that Sorlag off the mega health. I mean, getting it over 200 health, that's a problem. With Blitz, the armor and everything, it's a 300 stack you got to deal with. That's a lot to take down.
I really like this patience coming out from Cooler. He's really sort of sticking to the middle. He's really he's forcing Toxic. There's actually a lot of resources here, but only for a set time, of course, because it respawns. But Toxic's only really going to be able to stay around there for so long. But I think Cooler actually is maybe trying to slowly work his way in. I mean, he knows Toxic's in there. He's been there for like a good 30 seconds or so.
He's just looking for any kind of sound cue, waiting for Toxic to do something silly. It's very tactical right now.
And there's that Mega. Even if he hasn't got it, there's no way he hasn't got the timing on that. He knows it would have just been picked up.
Little cat and mouse here. I love these little standoffs. They both know where each other are right now. There's no doubt. He knows he's down there. He's just waiting. Neither
are firing either, because they don't want to give away their position. Especially when there's that juicy Heavy. I mean, they're both looking at it. They both want it, but who's going to pull the trigger first? That was a game of chicken. Toxic's going to have the ability. Yep, and there's the damage over time.
Right.
Cooler actually opting to run away. Doesn't want to stay out there. Probably don't want to be too vulnerable to a rail. We are near sudden death, of course.
That was nice denial by Toxic. He's in good shape. I mean, he has full control right now. All it's going to take is just one good read or a mistake by Cooler, and he's going to take this round.
12 seconds on that acid spit. And to be honest, we see Berserk be such an amazing ability. However, against a Sorlag with the acid spit, where point blank is exactly where she wants you to be, that's probably one of the better abilities at answering damage for damage. 10 seconds on the clock. This is going to be a one champion round, that's for sure. And wow, surprised that one actually missed.
Interesting. Now, that was a good steal. Cooler back in this. Mega health is up, and he's got position for it. Oh, and he doesn't even need it.
I mean, that was 5 minutes. That was 5 minutes into one of the fastest payouts. Massive damage on a really impressive tracking on the LG. And there you go, just one rocket, and that was all he needed to finish that one off. I mean, that was a hard-fought round, really. Even though there wasn't a huge amount of fighting, it was just fighting for control over those pickups to make sure that when the inevitable fight happens up close, like at the end, you don't have so much stack, you just come off better because you can take more damage. You get one direct while taking a million damage of punishment, and that's it.
I really like how Cooler changed up his pace in that round, just kind of throw Toxic off. And then also his positioning, and when he got the kill, he was in great position. Even if he didn't get that kill for any reason, he could have backed off and he had the mega health secured. So the positioning game is very interesting.
It's almost like every well-placed play, there was a reward. If that reward wasn't a frag, it was something else that was significant. He's caught in a bit of a bad spot, forced to use his Berserk to escape, and Toxic, can he land it? Nope, misses a couple of rails. And of course, if he gets that burst of speed, it's not going to be the easiest thing to hit do while he's in Berserk. Just get that burst of speed.
Toxic's got a nice stack right now.
That's why he's actually starting to slowly work his way in. I think he's confident with his current stack, and actually took minimal damage there. I think it's more that Cooler knew he was there, right? He doesn't want to continue if he's not got the jump on him.
Well, it's a popular area to, if you're in a bad spot, you'll see people back there in that super nail gun room kind of defending, because there are defensible areas in there. So it's predictable, but the problem is how do you get into that room without taking massive damage?
Toxic was in a bit of a funny spot there. Didn't have any rails. So he had a clear shot lined up on Cooler a couple of times by that heavy, but wasn't really able to get any payout. And if you saw someone like Toxic, where the rail was such a significant weapon for him, he's not got access to it. You see Cooler, I think he realized he hasn't fired a rail at me in a while. He mustn't have it. So he decided to go in for the heavy, thinking it was going to be a little bit less risk in that exchange.
Oh, nice.
Oh, dear. Really good shot.
Cooler's going to be looking for blood right now. Oh, I'm amazed he didn't get hyper-aggressive there.
I think he must just be worrying about those defensive rockets or those defensive shots. I mean, even if he has the stack to take it, one 100 damage rocket on the retreat is enough for Toxic to go, wait a minute, I'm Sorlag, I've still got health. Let's finish it off.
He took the conservative play, made sure he secured mega health again. He's going to come up, take position for the heavy armor. So make sure he has a huge stack, keep Toxic off of all of this stuff. Just keep him limited to the minimal, you know, the minor armor, the small armor, and just his basic health stack. So 200, I mean, that's very, very doable.
We're pretty much seeing an exact copy of what we saw in the first round, where I think the objective for Cooler is to essentially just keep Toxic, not necessarily behind, but keep him at bay, you know, keep him at arm's reach. So when the fight happens, Toxic hasn't just got an insanely ridiculous amount of health that just makes his life a lot more difficult. I feel like Cooler, he's playing this so smart. It's almost like he's playing it for the one frag.
Yeah, and he just did something very interesting. He delayed that mega health, so there's nice separation between armor and mega health right now. It can benefit you, but it's also a big risk, because for whatever reason, you lose control. now the separation is going to benefit Toxic.
I mean, he wastes no time collecting the heavy, and Cooler actually being hyper aggressive, probably trying to seal the deal. And again, running out of rails. I mean, that was pretty much a dead two rights frag. But unfortunately, because he had the rail out at that time, Cooler is alive temporarily, but only for so long. When you get comboed with a million nails into rail, ouch.
Yeah, nice read. Had the nails waiting for him. Cooler got a little over aggressive there out in the shotgun. You're in no man's land on that shotgun platform, and it was a great rail finish by Toxic.
Actually appreciate like almost like the braveness where Cooler was fresh off the spawn, but he goes, I mean, if I've just respawned and I've got injection, I've got mobility, I can probably try and steal this mega. And it did kind of work, you know, like he was alive. He didn't pay for it with his life as such, but Toxic.
The problem is he didn't get the mega health, and there was really no gain out of that. It was all a negative for him. The only thing positive is he didn't die, but he ended up dying as a result.
Yeah, I assume it was, well, if I get the mega, at least if I die here, he won't have it next time. But speaking of next time, he's got Nyx out, but No Ghost Walk for a few seconds, but he'll definitely have it by the next fight. But I'd worry about the clock. 1 minute left. And again, you got that champion difference. Toxic is in complete control of this situation.
Yeah, Toxic's definitely going to play on the back foot right now.
That's actually a very, very good...
Oh, nice.
Oh, well...
This just got very interesting.
I was about to say, that's actually a really good exchange of abilities, and he's caught him off the spawn. This is very fortunate.
Oh, man. This is going to, yeah. This is going to go down to the wire here.
I was just about to say, the exchange of abilities was actually quite good for Cooler, where the acid spit means he's now going to... He's not going to have to worry about it, and then he just gets the telefrag anyway, and that's pretty much best case scenario. But you definitely can't count him out. Toxic forced to retreat.
Oh, yeah, 20 seconds. Oh, it's this big pickup there. That's going to help him. Looks like he's probably going to run the timeout. That heavy armor was huge.
Just going to try and create a lot of space. I mean, just look at the distance. I mean, I don't even know if Cooler can cover this distance in time. He's going to get the Mega, but it's going to be meaningless with 5 seconds on the clock. Toxic has no interest going anywhere near what could have been a contested item, and that's going to be a very calculated round.
Yeah, smart idea of Toxic. No need to take any chances there. He had the lead. Just back off. I mean, there's so little time left. It got a little scary there, though. It was a great telefrag by Cooler to make it interesting.
I mean, right here, it was like, it's almost like Toxic went, oh, okay, he's invisible. I'll just go down towards Rocket. Damn, splat, dead. Really sick.
We'll see now.
I mean, that has put Toxic up on rounds again. He just gets this round, and this will be a map. By far, one of the slowest. This is one of the slowest maps we've seen, I think. Definitely. It's been such an aggressive day where the plays have been fast and hot, but in this one, it's been very slow and calculated.
Yeah, both experienced players, so that's just part of the game. I hate to admit it, but as you get a little older too, your reflexes aren't quite what they used to be. So you like to set up your shots better, and you pay more attention to positioning. You have to make adjustments.
You say sometimes young man reactions, yet Toxic still somehow remains to be ridiculously godlike on that rail. But what isn't godlike is his health pool currently. Not got a huge amount of health yet, but of course the armor's going to be good for him, and those small healths even. Full up, just regular defaults with Sorlag. In multiple game modes, you know, fresh off the spawn, you got tons of health.
Nice rail. Very nice. Just, and again, the way he just knew where, I love the way they know where their opponents are. He just came whipping around the corner. His crosshair was already lined up down there at the lightning and just nailed him with a great shot.
Tries to go for that prediction rocket. Toxic already airborne, goes in for a double jump to somewhat slow down his movement, so he's not going to get as vulnerable to those air rockets. And that was a very strange exchange from Cooler. It's almost like if he was going to take an up-close fight, maybe he would try and get some damage on the board. But even then, look at that stack from Sorlag. 2 punches, and she would have still been alive. Wow.
Barely missed that one.
Yeah, hair's length. Chasing it down, it's going to be Rocket versus LG, but Cooler's aiming has been pretty on point right there. One more shot. No! Oh. Maybe expects him to go to one side, but Toxic sticking true to his guns. The confident movement.
Yeah, that was actually a nice read by Toxic, because Cooler, as you said, was anticipating him to try to back out because he was low, but instead he took a step forward and to the right and kind of stepped underneath the rail, so to speak, and had it lined up a shot of his own.
Sometimes I feel like those kind of dukes, and they just straight up trade. They go for a straight up 1-1, a rocket each, but it's ultimately going to favor Toxic. He's now still got the champion advantage. Going in with his plasma trail into the gauntlet would have been massive damage if it connected, but a very intelligent Ghost Walk to undo all of the plasma trail, making sure he's still alive, but that could have been a 2-second frag if he had no invisibility available.
Yeah, but that's Toxic can now recognize that there is no Ghost Walk up for him for a little bit, so.
Damage is going to be in Cooler's favor until that final shot. Wasn't really able to finish it though. And Toxic, he's chasing it down. I think he's going to be hungry for this one. Even with this, he's going to know Cooler is not healthy.
Yeah, you could see that he took a little bit of a risk there. He wasn't exactly totally stacked himself when he came down and started getting that shotgun, but trying to get that little bit of damage on Cooler, maybe get the frag.
Nice recovery from Cooler.
Yep.
Now, even though we did just see some crazy aggression coming out of Toxic, one benefit of Slash and her mobility, very similar to Anarchy, is that she can play the defensive game, because ultimately it's just easier for her to get around and run away. You know, get from one point to another, you can't really chase her down.
Cooler's gonna, yeah, he's gonna want to make a play on this Mega Health. If he can get the Mega in the next heavy armor or something like that, really get a good stack. He's got to push here probably in the next 30 seconds. Beautiful shot. He's got to get this.
Oh, and I mean, even though he didn't get the Mega, I suppose he forced the plasma trail, but he still needs to get a really good rocket. But just look how fast. He actually got some really decent shots, considering how fast Toxic was going.
He's got a good opportunity to get a frag. Toxic is not in good shape. A little miscue there. I don't think he meant to drop down.
I guess it's going to be let's recover, let's get some time shards, let's get some health instead. If we didn't mean to go down here, let's at least recover the best we can. Oh no, a rail that was not returned. And the Mega.
It's just amazing because he was waiting. It was a good read. Toxic. I mean, he knew Toxic was going to drop. In that situation, Cooler actually had the advantage in terms of how he lined up his shot, but it's just a great play. He missed, and Toxic hit a great shot of his own. Toxic's playing really smart, too. I mean, both these guys are fantastic players.
Far into this 1 minute warning, 35 seconds is left. And with Toxic, with the round up, if he survives for 30 seconds, that's it. He's going to get this round. And, I mean, that's a lot for Toxic. There's a lot of momentum for Toxic to ride in. You know, we say sometimes this guy's going to have a good day or a bad day. Looking like right now, he's on form.
Definitely looking on point right now. Oh, that was just...
That was right before he reappeared. That would have been disastrous for Cooler. It, at the very least, would have got rid of the entire heavy armor.
Yeah, but Toxic's going to run out the clock right now. Yeah,
yep.
Cooler's looking desperate, trying to find him.
I mean, he's doing everything he can, but ultimately, I just don't think it's possible. You know, he's waiting for him to come around a corner, can't really catch it. Catches sight of him at the last minute, but with the teleporter on deck, Toxic is more than capable of escaping in that situation. He's going to go up a map, but by no means is this series over.
No, very close, but he's playing really smart. He's playing within himself. As you can see with the reaction, Cooler is trying to meditate a little bit, figure out what he can do to kind of crack the Toxic code right now. But Toxic's playing great. Cooler, you know, he's still trying to listen. He's made a lot of good plays himself. It's very much in the balance, even though Toxic won, and it seemed fairly convincing, but still, it's just a play here, a play there. It can really turn around in a hurry.
I guess you can look at a 3-1 record and go, you know, that was like a dominant win as such. But at the end of the day, if it was 3-1, but most of those rounds went down to like one frag or a timeout or something like that, it's, even though the record suggests it was dominant, because there was only one frag in it, it just came down to that one final play or that one final decision. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't like it was multiple frags going back to back. So I think going into the next map, you can definitely say Cooler's got a really good chance here. On top of the fact that we've seen multiple cases today where there's been, you know, reverse 2-0s, where, you know, a map has gone down a lot dominantly than that, and the straight two just start to snowball, and it's almost like that first map never took place. And if you're Cooler, I mean, experience is what your bread and butter is in all Quakes. So I mean, he's lost a map before. You know, he's been down on a map before in this kind of scenario. This isn't the kind of thing that would tilt a player like Cooler.
No, of course not. He's going to refocus for this next map. But of course, being down 0-1 to a player like Toxic, it's one thing to refocus, say, oh, I'm going to come back in the next match. But let's give credit to Toxic here, also an experienced champion himself. So I don't think either man has the edge in that department. It's all about who puts it together right now, and Toxic seems like the man in that first map.
And in almost fitting fashion, the next map being Blood Covenant, one classic to another. Now, this is going to be all about those fundamentals where these guys are going to be going at it again. The one concern I have is that Toxic has historically in tournament been very, very dominant on this map. I mean, he wasted no time. He went straight into Slash. You know, Slash was his instant pick because this is his map when it comes to picking Slash.
I'm wondering if he sticks with Sorlag. I was thinking he switched to Anarchy. I was about to say that.
Yeah, the Sorlag pick was almost definitely because it's almost
Blood
like
Run.
you know plenty of, you know, Toxic and the guys over in EU. They really do favour that Sorlag on Blood Run strategy because it's just a really good champion. But obviously going into Blood Covenant, we're going to see a little bit of difference. There's going to be more mobility, of course. Doomslayer, Anarchy, and Nyx all being able to basically navigate wherever they want to be, controlling that high ground being ever so important. But what really worries me about Blood Covenant against Toxic is the fact that his Slash movement on Blood Covenant is almost unrivaled. Like it truly is the best in the business for this map in particular.
Yeah, the speed of the crouch slide enables you to jump around so many different areas, not just a bridge to rail jump, but also from rocket launcher to those middle bridge, higher bridge areas in the middle. It's just so easy to do it. It's just, you just crouch slide and you just get speed and boom, jump right across. So you can really just glide all around the map, and it can throw your opponent off. As I said, these pros are so good at timing that if you get somewhere faster than they expect, it could throw them off because they won't be looking at you. They'll be expecting you to come a little later, and you know, get to see what happens.
We will see what happens indeed. Going into what could be our final map on Blood Covenant, Cooler versus Toxic. Toxic currently up one map, but I mean, at LAN, you never know what kind of turnarounds we're going to see, especially when there's someone like Cooler on the opposite end of this duel. And I mean, it's still going to be hard to call right here going into this, but look at the lineup. Cooler's going in for Nyx first. Toxic, of course, Slash is the first option. I'd be surprised if we see him change away from Slash first every time. Like, this really is his bread and butter.
I think, I love Slash. I think it's a great pick for this map. Ooh, nice rocket.
But Cooler, and he's been, I mean, before we can even start, that is a 20-second frag right there. Very expertly picked out by Toxic. And, I mean, Cooler's forced onto Anarchy. Opts to go for Anarchy next, but even Anarchy on this map, I don't think can keep up with Slash. I think she just has this unrivaled movement.
A little uncharacteristic from Cooler right there. You know, he got hit by the rocket, lost track of Toxic, and didn't even realize he dropped down off that ledge to rail him. He didn't even see that shot until he got hit.
I suppose if you're going to make those kind, if those kind of like hiccups will take place, make sure it's at the very beginning. He lays a trap, and Cooler takes the bait quite happily. I mean, he just went right round there. That 100 damage rocket, he was pretty much guaranteed the second he was stuck in the air. And this has been a significantly faster turnaround that we have seen previously on Blood Run, that's for sure. Another rail. I don't think Toxic's going to be too interested in fighting, though. He wants to keep that lead. Oh my days.
What a great shot. Yeah, Cooler's in a world of hurt right now. He's got to be thinking, like, is this guy going to miss?
Oh, evidently not. Give us one more! Give us one more, Toxic!
Jeez.
This is why this is his map.
Yeah. This is what Jahar was alluding to. Like, when this guy's on, he's just on, man. And, you know, it's not exactly like Cooler's easy to hit either.
But I mean, like, how do you lay a trap like that against someone like Cooler? You know, Cooler is one of the smartest players in the business.
It was just a good, he knows he wanted that rocket launcher, and he just waited for him. And it was patience, and he heard the hoverboard, so he knew he was close.
As each round goes, though, it just, I mean, he's going to beat the strafe jumping. The plasma trail was going to completely allow him to cover that distance. And again, this is why this is not an easy task against Slash. I'm going to see the Mega. I know you're there, but I'm still going to beat you to it. And what?
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, everybody loves Anarchy, well, because he's so fast and he can zip around corners. But when your opponent's Slash, she's faster than Anarchy, so she can get around just as good, if not better.
Oh, my days. A little bit of damage on that plasma trail. The grounded rocket, but way closer. And that hurt him a lot more than it hurt her. Toxic's looking to finish this. One more shot. And that's going to be a Nyx, but instead, he'll get the Mega first. I mean, how much health is Cooler likely to pick up in this situation? There's not much around.
Toxic is feeling himself a little bit right now. He's just playing beautiful. You could tell, look at the confidence. And I mean, he's really in his zone right now.
Oh,
another hit.
Has he even missed yet? Has he missed yet, Machiavelli? What is going on?
He's on fire, gentlemen. That's what it is. He's on fire, ladies and gentlemen.
This is definitely Toxic on his form, and wow. What? The speed of which he's been able to secure this one.
You can see some of the movements, you know, when he's zipping around the corners, hitting some of these shots. You can see the confidence. He knows he's in a moment right now. He's feeling good. You know, take advantage, finish this game. Don't let Cooler get back in this. That's what Toxic's got to be thinking right now.
I can't believe with how fast this has turned around, how slow and calculated and paced Blood Run was. Just like that, in the space of about 3-4 minutes, this is match point for Toxic already. And he's moments away from taking Cooler down a set in the group stages.
Yeah, he's playing excellent right now. Man, after watching this, it makes me wonder if maybe Toxic's looking great for, at least for today.
I'm convinced he only missed that shot because there was a pillar in the way, by the way. But, well, that's a very good rocket. And he's going to chase it down. He's confident he can seal it, but watch out.
Yeah, if you're Toxic right now, you got to be thinking you want to get Cooler out of there. You do not want to let this guy win a round or even somehow get back into this and win the map or go to a third map. That would be disastrous, I think, personally. He has him on the ropes. He needs to get him out of there.
I don't think there's going to be any more, I suppose, like momentum. He's going to be riding here and full speed ahead, going in for those grounded rockets, but there's the double jump, answered back by the Berserk, but the speed of Slash, making that Berserk a little bit harder to lock on, and he's caught him off guard up behind, but he can't see it just yet. Misses the rail. That could be pivotal. Cooler alive temporarily still.
Set up for this. Oh, I'm amazed. I thought he was going to die.
Yeah, me too. Definitely me too.
So you see earlier the Slash, how quickly he gets around. You see it caught Cooler off guard because he's like, oh, I got a little time to get the rocket launcher. No, I don't. He's right behind me.
It's just insane how fast. And it's not just Slash, it's Toxic Slash. It's the fact that I really think like he optimizes her movement in this game. Like, you know, he has the fastest routes for everywhere on the map, which means it can be quite, oh my God. Yep. Oh, and he finishes it with a 100 damage. And then he finishes the job with a rail. Like, this is the Toxic we know.
Great just combo. Easy finish. That's textbook finish.
Yeah, the rail was the easy bit.
Yeah,
right there.
yeah. The rocket set it up though. Beautiful positioning. I love how he's cutting off the map. You see how he knew where Cooler was. He lit the plasma trail, kind of forced him into a certain area, and he was there waiting for him. He's really cutting off the map. Excellent.
I mean, yeah, there's no way he's going to even bother going anywhere else. He's going to have to try and just get out there as fast as possible, try and fight towards that heavy. Cooler needs to get some kind of saving grace right now because it's just going from bad to worse. Oh no, one more rocket. Stuck temporarily in his injection, so he can't fire. So that was one unchallenged rocket that did come through. The Mega. Very important to collect that one.
Both Shigi. Yeah, okay, he did get it. I was wondering if he was going to get there. He's a little low. Oh my gosh, nice shooting by Cooler.
It's the armor though. He had enough armor to tank both those rails. He's trying to get one final shot, but Toxic somehow comes off better in that exchange.
Again, it's similar to what he did on Blood Run. You see, Cooler anticipated him to go down to that health bubble and try to escape down below. He shot the rocket down, but Toxic was already making his way back up the stairs. He faked going down there and came up with the rail shot. Just really intelligent play.
And I feel like when you're that much health down, that's a brave decision too.
It is.
Like, you know, in the spur of the moment when you're almost dead, staying composed enough to go, I'm gonna do something as specific as this is not something that any player can pull through with.
And I can't stress enough, that is a split-second decision you have to make. And it's just excellent. I can't believe it's so good to watch somebody do that. It shows a great level of confidence and just I guess insight, reading his opponent. He knows that he's going to try to set that shot. That rocket down to the health is very common when somebody's trying to get away. So he knew if he went down there, he was dead. Instead, he took a different tack.
Well, unfortunately, if you're Cooler, you were almost 1 minute away. You have no choice but to first off take out this Slash, which has been such a problem, and then take out another champion to stay alive. This is one of the tallest orders a player could have in this game right now. Like, Toxic has to lose his Slash, and then another champion, and he only has 55 seconds to get it done. Is it even possible?
Yeah, it's going to be really tough, especially because Slash is so much a little bit faster than Nyx. So when it comes to chasing, he's going to have to cut off the map somehow and make a good read on Toxic. And with 2 frags, 40 seconds, it's looking like this could be a wrap.
I mean, he's trying to chase it down. Toxic will be able to somewhat delay his spawn, though, so there is that. That's like an extra 5 seconds that's going to be gone. Does he actually have time to get the job done? There's a Doomslayer with a stack, which is far beyond Nyx. I'm not sure. I mean, Cooler's doing everything he can, but the plasma trail to cover the distance. Tries going for a prediction rocket, but too late. Slash is too fast.
Yeah, this is it. There's no way. There's not enough time for him to get 2 frags. This is a great win by Toxic. Very impressive. I can't say enough. I mean, if he keeps this up, I don't see how you can't consider him a favorite to be in the grand final or up there in the top 4 or whatever.
And the fact that this turnaround was pulled off. Toxic moving on 2-0 against Cooler. I mean, Cooler was many people's call to win for very obvious reasons. One of the best players out there in Quake, but